The night was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that made the air feel heavy, like the world was holding its breath. In a small town outside Chicago, people were asleep, all except one old man, Mr. Harlan, who sat by his window, drinking tea and watching the empty street. Then he heard it. Knock, knock, knock. It was soft, almost polite, but there was something strange about it, a rhythm too perfect, too steady. Mr. Harlan froze. It was 3 a.m. Who would knock at that hour? He stood up slowly and walked to the door. "Who's there?" he asked. No answer. Only silence, then again. Knock, knock, knock. A chill ran down his spine. He opened the door just an inch and peeked outside. A tall, thin figure stood in the darkness. A woman, but not quite human. Her skin shimmered like silver dust under the streetlight. Her eyes, large, blue, and deep like a cold ocean, locked on him. "Please," she said softly. "I am looking for someone." Mr. Harlan's heart raced. Who are you?" She tilted her head, her voice trembling but gentle. "I am a mother. I am looking for my child." And before he could say anything more, she was gone, just vanished, like mist fading into the night. The next morning, the whole town buzzed with whispers. People said the old man had seen a ghost. Others said he was dreaming. But as the sun set that day, a family across town heard it too. Knock, 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 the same pattern. The same voice. The same question, "Please, I am looking for my child." This time a woman named Clara opened the door. The strange visitor stood there again, her eyes full of sadness and something else, and determination. Clara trembled. "Who are you really?" The visitor took a step closer. "I am from a place far from here. I have searched every star, every world. Now I search every door." Before Clara could answer, the visitor touched the doorframe with glowing fingers. A soft blue light spread across the wood like a scanner. Then she whispered, "Not you," and disappeared into thin air. Clara screamed. By the end of the first week, the world had changed. Thousands of people across the planet reported the same thing. A knock in the night, a silver-skinned woman asking the same question. Governments called her the Seeker. News channels called her the Alien Mother. Scientists called her Anomaly 47, but she didn't hurt anyone. She never forced her way in. She only knocked, spoke gently, scanned, and left. For 3 years she came, and every night to someone new. Every country, every town, every home, knock, 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 and with every visit people grew more afraid. Some locked their doors with iron and salt. Others waited, hoping she would choose them, because rumors began to spread. Some said those she visited never aged again. Others said they had dreams of strange stars and silver cities after seeing her. No one knew the truth. One night she arrived at a house on the edge of a mountain. Inside lived a boy named Eli, 17 years old, quiet, curious, and always watching the sky. He had lost his parents young and often wondered if life beyond Earth was kinder than this one. When the knock came, he didn't hide.
He opened the door.
There she was, tall, glowing, eyes filled with both sorrow and hope. She looked at him for a long time. Then her lips trembled. "You," she whispered. "You have his eyes." Eli stepped back, confused. "Whose eyes?" She smiled sadly. "My son's." Before Eli could move, she raised her hand. Light surrounded him, soft and blue. And then she was gone. Eli stood frozen in the doorway. The light around him faded, but a small mark glowed faintly on his wrist, a symbol like a star within a circle. He didn't know it yet, but that mark would change everything. Because for the first time in 3 years, the alien mother had stopped knocking. She had found someone. The night after the alien mother disappeared, Eli couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face, calm, glowing, and full of pain. Her words echoed in his mind like a whisper carried by the wind. "You have his eyes." He sat by the window, staring at the strange mark glowing faintly on his wrist. It looked like a tiny star inside a circle, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Sometimes it flickered, as if responding to something unseen. Eli rubbed it, but it didn't fade. It wasn't paint. It wasn't a wound. It was part of him now. The next morning, he tried to pretend nothing had happened. He walked to school, kept his head down, and ignored the news playing on every screen. Reporters shouted about new sightings of the alien mother. Some said she had vanished completely. Others said she was last seen heading east, moving faster than any human could. Eli didn't care about the rumors. He cared about the feeling deep in his chest, a strange warmth that wouldn't go away. It felt like something inside him had awakened. When he reached school, his best friend Mira noticed immediately. "Hey," she said, squinting at him. "You look like you haven't slept in a week." "What happened?" Eli hesitated. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." Mira crossed her arms. "Try me." So he told her about the knock, the silver-skinned woman, the blue light, and the mark. Mira listened quietly, her eyes wide. When he showed her his wrist, she gasped. "Eli, that's not normal." "I know," he said softly. "I think she marked me for something, but I don't know why." Mira looked nervous. "You shouldn't tell anyone else. People are scared. The government's arresting anyone who claims they saw her. They think she's dangerous." "Dangerous?" Eli asked. "She didn't hurt me." "Maybe not you," Mira said, lowering her voice. "But there's a rumor. A man in Japan vanished after she touched him. His house was burned from the inside. They say she took his soul." Eli shook his head.
She's not like that.
She looked sad, like she's lost something. Mira sighed. "Even if that's true, you should hide that mark." "Promise me," Eli nodded. But deep inside, he knew it was useless. The mark had already started to change. That night, he woke up to a strange humming sound. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from him. The mark on his wrist glowed brighter, lighting the dark room with blue light. Then, out of nowhere, his computer turned on by itself. The screen flickered, showing static and alien symbols. Eli's heart pounded. "What's happening?" The symbols rearranged themselves until they formed words he could read. "Awakened signal detected. Genetic match 99.7%. Activation imminent." He stumbled back, terrified. "Activation? What does that mean?" Before he could move, the light expanded from his wrist, covering his entire body for just 1 second, and then vanished. Everything went silent again. But when he looked out the window, he saw something in the distance, a bright column of blue light shooting up from the forest behind his town. Something was calling him. The next day, Eli skipped school. He told Mira he had to find out what the light was. She begged him not to go, but he didn't listen. He packed a flashlight, water, and an old compass, then walked toward the forest. As he entered the trees, the air felt strange, heavy, almost electric. The birds were gone. The ground hummed softly under his feet. After an hour of walking, he reached the place where the light had touched the earth. The trees were burnt in a perfect circle, but there was no fire damage. It looked like energy had passed through them. In the center of the clearing, he found something half buried in the ground, a small metallic sphere, still glowing faintly blue. Eli reached out and picked it up. The moment his fingers touched it, the mark on his wrist flared bright, and a voice, soft, familiar, spoke inside his mind. "Eli, my son." He dropped the sphere, breathing hard. The voice was gentle but filled with sorrow. "Who are you?" he whispered. The voice replied, "I am your mother, but not the one who raised you." Eli's hands trembled. "The alien mother?" "Yes," the voice said. "You were taken from me long ago, hidden among humans, but the time has come. The others will come for you." "Others?" Eli asked. "What others?" But before she could answer, the sphere pulsed with light, and a deep mechanical roar echoed from the forest behind him. Something huge was moving between the trees. The voice spoke one last time. "Run, Eli! They found you!" Eli turned and ran as the shadows of strange shapes, not human, not friendly, moved closer. The forest was alive with sound. Eli ran, his breath sharp and fast, the mark on his wrist burning like fire. Behind him, the strange metallic roar grew louder, deep, heavy, and inhuman. He didn't dare look back at first. The trees blurred around him as he stumbled over roots and rocks, branches slapping his face. Every few seconds he heard it again, a metallic thump like giant footsteps following his every move. Then came the light, a flash of red cutting through the darkness. Eli turned just in time to see something step out from the shadows, tall, armored, and glowing faintly like living machines. There were 3 of them. Their bodies looked like a mix of bone and metal, their faces hidden behind smooth masks with red eyes. They weren't human. One of them raised a hand. and a strange voice came through the air, cold and echoing. Target located. Human hybrid confirmed. Capture alive, Eli's stomach twisted. Hybrid? Before he could think, a blast of red light shot past him, burning through the trees. He dove behind a fallen log as smoke rose into the air. He could still hear the voice of the alien mother faintly in his mind, broken and weak. Run, Eli, they are hunters. They served the Dominion. They took you from me. He pressed his hand to his wrist. What do they want with me? To end what you are, she whispered. They fear the union of our blood. Her voice faded. The mark dimmed. Eli was alone again. He crawled through the thick bushes, trying to stay quiet. The hunter's footsteps were steady, scanning beams of red light sweeping across the forest. Every time the light came near, the mark on his wrist reacted, glowing brighter like it wanted to be seen. Stop, Eli whispered, trying to cover it. But the light pulsed harder, almost like it had its own mind. The hunters turned instantly toward him. Energy signal detected. Coordinates locked. Eli cursed under his breath and started running again. His lungs burned. He tripped and rolled down a small hill, landing near a shallow river. Pain shot through his arm, but he didn't stop. As he crawled to his feet, something metallic clinked beside him, a piece of the sphere he had dropped earlier. It had rolled down here too. He picked it up again, and the same voice echoed faintly inside his mind. Trust the light, Eli, it will protect you. The mark glowed so bright it lit the whole forest. The hunters fired again, but the blasts curved away, missing him completely, as if something invisible bent the air around him. Eli gasped. What is happening to me? But the moment didn't last long. The light faded again, weaker now, and he could hear the hunters regrouping. He ran toward an old cabin hidden near the edge of the forest, a place his father used to take him when he was a kid. It was dusty and broken, but it still had a cellar beneath the floor. He pushed the door open, slipped inside, and pulled a rug over the trap door before climbing down into the dark. His heart pounded so loud he was sure they could hear it. Above him, heavy footsteps creaked on the wooden floor. Heat signature detected, one voice said. Another replied, he's close. The signal is unstable. Eli held his breath. Then, suddenly, silence. Minutes passed. The air was thick. He thought maybe they had left. But when he looked up through the cracks in the floor, he saw one red eye staring down at him. The hunter punched through the wood with terrifying strength, grabbing Eli by the arm and pulling him up like he weighed nothing. Eli screamed and kicked, but the grip was cold and unbreakable. The hunter raised its weapon. The hybrid must not awaken. Before it could fire, a shockwave ripped through the cabin, a blue blast of light that threw both of them apart. The walls shattered and smoke filled the air. When the dust cleared, Eli saw a figure standing in the doorway, the alien mother. Her silver skin shimmered, her eyes burning bright blue. You will not touch him, she said, her voice calm but powerful. The hunters aimed their weapons at her. You are forbidden to interfere. The Dominion decrees, her eyes flashed. I no longer serve the Dominion. She raised her hand and the ground itself responded. The air cracked with energy as a wave of blue light tore through the hunters. They screamed, not in pain but in static, before vanishing into thin air like dust blown by the wind. Eli stared at her in shock. You came back. She turned slowly, sadness in her eyes. I never left, my son. I have always been watching. Eli swallowed hard. You said they took me. Why, what am I? The alien mother looked at the glowing mark on his wrist and said softly, You are the bridge between worlds, Eli, and they will not stop until you are gone. Outside, the wind howled, but it wasn't just wind. More red lights appeared in the sky, descending like falling stars. The hunters weren't finished. They had just begun. The cabin was burning. Blue sparks still danced in the air where the alien mother had fought the hunters. The forest was silent again. But the silence didn't feel safe anymore. Eli stood beside her, shaking. They're coming back, aren't they? The alien mother looked toward the sky. Clouds swirled unnaturally, glowing faint red from the lights of distant hunter ships. Yes, she said quietly. The Dominion never stops once they begin the hunt. Eli clenched his fists. You have to tell me the truth now. Who are they? Who am I? She turned to him, her silver eyes filled with sorrow. You were born in the last days of our world. My people once lived among the stars free. But then the Dominion came, a great empire of machines and rulers who feared what they could not control. She walked slowly toward the shattered wall of the cabin, her voice trembling with memory. They conquered worlds, erased species, and made slaves of every free mind. When they found me, they took everything. My people fought, but we were no match for their power. You were the last child of our kind, half of my blood, half of human. Eli blinked in confusion. Half human? How? My parents were. Your human parents found you, she said softly. They raised you as their own, not knowing the truth. You were hidden on Earth because the Dominion would never think to search among humans. Until now. He looked down at the glowing mark on his wrist. This was the reason they found me, wasn't it? The alien mother nodded. It's your birthmark, the key to what they fear most. You are the bridge between our worlds, Eli. You can connect the minds of species. Unite them. That's why they want you destroyed. Eli shook his head slowly. Unite minds? I'm just a kid. I can't even pass math. Her expression softened, a small sad smile appearing on her face. You are more than what you believe. You carry two souls, human and alien. That balance gives you the power to do what neither side can do alone. He looked at her, uncertain. If they're so powerful, how can we stop them? We don't stop them, she said. We survive them. We find the core. They walked through the night, deeper into the mountains. The alien mother moved silently, her steps almost floating. Eli followed, clutching the sphere she had given him earlier. As dawn painted the sky pink, they reached an ancient cave carved into the rock. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, the same kind as on Eli's wrist. This is one of our last sanctuaries, she whispered, a place the Dominion cannot see. Inside, the air hummed with quiet energy. There were old machines covered in dust and tall crystal columns that pulsed faintly when the alien mother approached. She touched one, and the whole chamber came alive. Holograms flickered, stars, ships, faces of long-lost beings. In the center, a large orb floated, bright and blue. Eli stared in awe. What is that? The heart core, she said. It is a memory of my people. Everything we were, everything we hoped to be. But it's broken. The Dominion destroyed most of its fragments. Only a few remain hidden across the galaxy. Eli stepped closer. So we find the rest? Yes, she said. But before we can, you must awaken your connection to it. He frowned. How? She placed her hand on his wrist. The mark flared, and a deep vibration filled the cave. The orb responded. Lines of light reaching toward him like living rivers. Images flashed before his eyes. Stars exploding, alien cities burning, children running from shadows of metal giants. He saw her, younger, holding a baby wrapped in light. He saw the hunters tearing through her world. Then he saw himself, standing in front of the same Dominion ships now heading for Earth. He gasped and fell to his knees. I saw them. They're coming. To Earth, millions of them. The alien mother closed her eyes. The Dominion knows you're awake. They will not stop now. Eli looked up, fear and anger mixing in his chest. We have to warn people. Humans are not ready to believe, she said. But there is someone who will listen. The one who carries the signal. Eli frowned. Who? Before she could answer, the cave shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. The holograms flickered. They've found us, she whispered. From outside, the sound of engines echoed. Deep, mechanical, and close. The entrance of the cave lit up with red light as shadows moved closer. Eli's mark began to glow again, brighter than before. What do we do? The alien mother grabbed his shoulders. You must go deeper into the cave. There is a gate, an ancient portal. It leads beyond this world. The Dominion cannot follow you through it yet. What about you? He asked, his voice cracking. I will hold them off. You must survive. She touched his forehead, and a warm light spread through him. Remember, Eli, you are not the weapon they fear. You are the hope they lost. She turned and faced the mouth of the cave as the hunter's red beams broke through the mist. Eli hesitated for just a second, then ran toward the back of the cave where blue light shimmered like water. As he stepped into it, the last thing he heard was her voice, calm, brave, and full of love. For every door I knocked upon, I searched for you. Now go, and open the stars. The light swallowed him whole. Light. That was all Eli could see. Endless, blinding light that felt alive. It wasn't hot or cold. just endless, weightless brightness. For a moment he thought he was floating through a dream. Then his feet touched something solid. The light faded slowly and he realized he was standing in a vast open field, but not like any place on Earth. The sky was purple, rippling like water. 2 moons hung above him, one silver, one red. The air hummed softly, filled with the scent of metal and rain. Strange plants glowed in the distance, tall, crystal-like trees that shimmered when the wind moved through them. He turned in a slow circle, whispering, "Where am I?" A voice replied behind him, "Welcome, Eli. You are in the world between worlds." Eli spun around. A figure stood there, not the alien mother, but something else. It was human-shaped but made of pure light, its outline shifting like smoke. Its eyes were gentle but deep, filled with old knowledge. "Who are you?" Eli asked cautiously. "I am a keeper," it said, "a memory made to guide those who pass through the gate. You are the first in many years." "The first?" The keeper nodded. "The gate closed when the Dominion began their war. Only those who carry the mark may open it again." Eli looked down at his wrist. The mark glowed faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. "She sent me here," he said. "The alien mother. She told me to survive." The keeper tilted its head. "She is brave and kind. Her name was once Elira, Queen of the Lost Suns." Eli's breath caught. "Elira? My mother?" "Yes. She carried the blood of the old worlds, and in you, that blood awakens again." He took a step forward. "Where did she send me? What is this place?" "This," said the keeper, gesturing to the glowing horizon, "is the archive, a hidden realm created before the Dominion's rise. Every world that fell left behind its memory here. The Dominion cannot touch it." Eli looked around again, realizing the glowing plants were not plants at all. They were towers of glass filled with light, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. Inside them, faint images flickered, faces, places, and stars. "It's beautiful," he whispered. The keeper smiled faintly. "Beauty is all that remains when life ends. The archive remembers what the Dominion destroys." Eli felt a heavy sadness in his chest. "If this place remembers everything, can it tell me how to stop them?" The keeper's light dimmed slightly. "Stopping them is not simple. The Dominion feeds on fear. It turns life into obedience. You cannot fight them with force, only with connection. That is why your mark exists." Eli frowned. "Connection?" "Yes," said the keeper. "The power to link minds, to share thoughts, memories, emotions across distance. It is the bridge between species. The Dominion fears unity more than any weapon." He stared at the glowing towers. "So if I connect the worlds again, they'll fall?" "If you can awaken what sleeps within you," the keeper said softly. "But first you must learn what the Dominion truly is." The keeper raised a hand and the air around them shimmered. Suddenly the sky opened like a curtain, showing visions in the air, massive ships shaped like black wings, moving through space. Inside them were not just machines but beings trapped in armor, their eyes dull, their movements robotic. "These are the hunters," the keeper said. "They were once alive, people like you and your mother's kind. The Dominion took their minds, replacing their thoughts with one single command: obey." Eli felt sick. "They're not just soldiers, they're slaves." The keeper nodded. "Yes, the Dominion doesn't just conquer planets, it conquers souls. Every time someone gives up hope, the Dominion grows stronger." Eli clenched his fists. "Then I won't give up. I'll find a way to free them." The keeper looked at him closely. "That is what she hoped you would say." Suddenly the ground trembled. The sky darkened. The 2 moons flickered like dying candles. Eli turned sharply. "What's happening?" The keeper's voice grew urgent. "The Dominion has found the gate. They are trying to break into the archive. You must go. Now." "Where?" Eli shouted. "To the heart core," the keeper said. "The true one. the original source of every memory. It lies in the city of Etherian, far beyond the shattered plains. Find it before they do. It is the only thing powerful enough to resist them. A blinding light split the sky. Cracks of red lightning appeared, and Eli could see shapes descending, dark, winged figures tearing through the air. The keeper raised both hands, forming a wall of light between Eli and the intruders. "Go! The path will find you. Follow the mark." Eli hesitated. "What about you?" The keeper smiled sadly. "I am already only a memory. Go before I fade." The light around Eli grew stronger. The ground beneath his feet opened like a portal, pulling him downward. The last thing he saw was the keeper standing against the storm, whispering something he would never forget. Even in darkness, connection is light. Then everything went black. When Eli opened his eyes again, he was lying on cold stone. A city of floating towers stretched out before him, glowing faintly in the distance. Above, the sky burned gold, and in that light, he saw shadows moving. The Dominion had followed him. Eli woke up to the sound of wind, soft but strange, like it was whispering through metal instead of trees. He opened his eyes slowly. A cold light washed over him. He was lying on a cracked stone path, surrounded by towers floating in the air. They shimmered faintly, connected by long, thin bridges that glowed like threads of light. The city stretched across a canyon so deep that the bottom was lost in mist. This was Etherian, the lost city the keeper had spoken of, and it was beautiful, but broken. Everywhere Eli looked, he saw fragments of a world that once lived. Some towers hung half-shattered, suspended by invisible energy. Crystals floated in the air, spinning slowly like frozen stars. The silence felt ancient, as if time itself had stopped breathing here. Eli stood up, brushing dust from his clothes. The mark on his wrist still glowed faintly, pulsing with every beat of his heart. "So this is it," he whispered. "The last city." He started walking across one of the glowing bridges, careful not to look down. The air shimmered faintly with static energy, but the bridge felt solid. As he walked, whispers echoed in his head. Faint voices, almost like memories. Etherian, the city of hope. We built light to fight darkness. Protect the core. Eli stopped. "Who's there?" The voices vanished. Only the wind answered. As he reached the next platform, he saw movement. A figure stepped out from behind a fallen pillar, tall, wrapped in a cloak of pale fabric. The person's face was hidden behind a silver mask with glowing blue eyes. "Stay where you are," the figure said firmly. "How did you enter this realm?" Eli raised his hands. "Wait, I'm not an enemy. My name's Eli. I came through the gate. The keeper sent me." The masked figure hesitated. "The gate? Impossible. It's been sealed for centuries." "I swear it's true," Eli said quickly. "My mother, Elira, opened it for me." The figure froze. The name had power. Slowly, they removed their mask. Beneath it was a woman, her skin faintly luminous, her eyes bright silver like Elira's, but younger. "You speak her name?" she whispered. "Elira the Wanderer?" "Yes," Eli said softly. "She saved me. She's my mother." The woman stared at him for a long time, disbelief turning to awe. Then she knelt. "The child of Elira lives." Eli stepped back, confused. "Who are you?" "My name is Kyle," she said. "I am one of the last light, the few who stayed to guard what remains of Etherian." "Then you know about the heart core," Eli said. "I was told it's here." Kale nodded slowly. "Yes, the heart core lies at the city's center, but it has been silent for ages. We have tried to awaken it, but none of us bear the mark." Eli showed his wrist. "Then maybe I can." Kale's eyes widened. "The star seal, it's true." She turned quickly. "Follow me." They moved across a series of floating bridges toward the city's heart. As they walked, Kale spoke quietly. Etherian was built as a refuge. When the Dominion came, Elira sent her child away, you, and told us to keep the core hidden. But the hunters came even here. Many of us fell. Eli listened silently, watching the ruined beauty around him. You kept it safe all this time? Kale nodded. We swore an oath, but now, we are few. When they reached the center of the city, Eli gasped. There it was, a huge sphere of light suspended above a circular platform. The heart core. Its light flickered weakly, like a dying star. This is it, Kyle said. The last memory of our people. Eli stepped closer. The moment he did, the mark on his wrist burned. The core responded, glowing brighter. Symbols of light rose into the air, swirling around him like living language. Kale watched in awe. It's reacting to you. Eli reached out, his fingers inches from the core. He could hear faint voices again, thousands of them. Whispering, singing, crying. Every voice from every world the Dominion had destroyed. Then one voice stood out. Eli, my son. His breath caught. Mother. The core flared. Elira's image appeared before him, made of light and memory. Her eyes were soft but urgent. There isn't much time, she said. The Dominion breaches every barrier. They will reach Etherian soon. You must use the core, awaken the link. Unite every voice that still remembers freedom. But how? Eli asked. You already know, Elira said gently. It's inside you. The mark isn't power. It's connection. Let them in, Eli. All of them. Kyle shook her head. It's too dangerous. His mind could shatter. Elira smiled faintly. He was born for this. The core pulsed brighter, and Eli felt warmth flood through him. The voices grew louder, not painful, but alive. Every mind, every memory, every feeling poured into him. He saw worlds, faces, lives, and all connected through him. The fear, the hope, the light. Then suddenly, a deep, thunderous boom echoed across the city. The ground shook. Red lights appeared in the sky. Kale looked up, terrified. The Dominion is here. Elira's image flickered. Eli, listen to me. The link is not complete. You must protect the core. If it falls, every world will fall with it. The light around her began to fade. Remember, a connection is stronger than control. And then she was gone. Eli turned toward the sky. Giant ships were descending, black and red, casting long shadows across the floating towers. The hunters had found them. He clenched his fists, the mark blazing like a star. They want the core? Kale nodded. They want to erase it. Eli looked at the sky, anger replacing fear. Then we fight. The sky burned red. Etherian shook under the weight of thunder that wasn't from the clouds. It was the Dominion ships breaking through the atmosphere. Eli stood at the edge of the platform, his hair whipping in the hot wind. The mark on his wrist glowed so brightly now it looked like fire. Beside him, Kyle tightened her grip on a glowing spear. The hunters are descending, she said. If they reach the heart core, everything ends. Eli stared at the sky. Then we don't let them. The first wave came fast, black machines dropping from the clouds like falling stars. They landed hard, their metal feet cracking the crystal floor. Their eyes blazed red, their voices cold and mechanical. Target hybrid confirmed. Priority Alpha. Eli took a deep breath. You'll have to go through me first. The hunters raised their weapons, red beams forming in their hands. But before they could fire, the mark on Eli's wrist pulsed and a wave of blue energy exploded outward. The blast hit the hunters like a storm. Their armor cracked, their weapons dimmed. Kale gasped. What did you do? Eli's voice shook. I just felt them. Their fear, their pain. They don't want to fight. They're trapped. He closed his eyes. He could feel their minds, cold and empty, buried under layers of Dominion control. He reached out with his thoughts, pushing light into that darkness. Wake up, he whispered. You don't have to obey them. One of the hunters froze. Its weapon dropped. For a second, its red eyes flickered to blue, and then it turned on its own kind. Kale stared in disbelief. You freed him. Eli nodded slowly. Not all, but some will remember. Above them, the Dominion mothership descended, vast and shadowy, It blotted out the suns, its engines rumbling like a storm. A deep, echoing voice filled the air, cold and full of pride. Elira's child, you cannot undo the Dominion. You are a mistake that should never have been born. Eli clenched his fists. You talk too much. Your kind once ruled the stars, the voice hissed. Now you kneel. Not anymore. He turned to Kale. Protect the core, no matter what happens. She hesitated. Eli, go, he shouted. Kale ran toward the heart core chamber while Eli faced the descending swarm. The ground trembled as hundreds of hunters advanced. The mark on his wrist spread light across his body like armor. His eyes glowed blue. When the first hunter charged, Eli raised his hand, and the air itself cracked. Bolts of light shot from his fingertips, bending and splitting like living energy. The hunters fell one by one, their metal melting under the heat of pure will, but the mothership wasn't done. Its underside opened, revealing a massive cannon glowing red. The Dominion voice spoke again. You cannot save them all. Connection is weakness, Eli shouted back. Then I'll show you how strong weakness can be. The cannon fired. A beam of red energy wider than a building. Eli threw up both hands. The mark on his wrist exploded in light and a shimmering shield formed around him. The impact shook the entire city, but the light held. Through the force of the blast, Eli felt something. A million distant minds, watching, listening. Every being who had ever been touched by Elira's people. Reaching back, he heard them whisper, "We are with you. Don't let them take it." Together, tears filled his eyes. He wasn't alone. The connection was real. The core pulsed brighter behind him, feeding his light. The red beam cracked, split, and shattered. The mothership's weapon exploded in a burst of fire. Inside the core chamber, Kyle saw the light spreading through the entire city, from tower to tower, bridge to bridge. The heart core roared back to life, brighter than a star. Eli floated in midair now, surrounded by swirling energy. The hunters stopped fighting. Their red eyes turned blue one by one. The Dominion's voice faded into static. "This is not the end," Eli whispered back. "No, it's the beginning." When the light finally faded, the sky was calm again. The mothership was gone. The hunters lay still, their armor empty, their minds free. Eli landed softly, his body trembling. The mark on his wrist still glowed, but now it was gentle, peaceful. Kale ran toward him. "Eli, you did it. You destroyed them." He shook his head weakly. "No, I freed them." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe freedom is the best victory." They looked up at the sky. For the first time in ages, the red clouds cleared, revealing stars. A faint voice echoed in Eli's mind, his mother's voice. "You opened the stars, my son. You found the one I searched for. Yourself." He smiled, tears in his eyes. "Goodbye, Mom." The city of Etherian glowed once more, not as a ruin, but as a beacon. And across the universe, scattered worlds began to shine again, one by one. The connection, reborn,